Hello, Nigeria. I'm Becky Madujemu. It's great to be with you on this edition of Newsline. 2020 is still very young, and one thing is clear, the optimism is in the air. We went to town to pick the thoughts of some Nigerians about their expectations. After that are tales of the unexpected. A boy meets his brutal end, leaving a community sad and confused, while a distraught couple prays for a miracle after birthing twins. As for the festivities among our list, a king and queen celebrate landmark birthdays in a spectacular manner, and 3 daughters of an officer and gentleman tied knots in one sitting. Remarkable. There's also a roll call of traditional functions that project the culture of custodians and their subjects. But like we always do, let's begin with the news. Happy Sunday, Yeri John.
Many thanks, Becky. Welcome to the news. There are strong indications that the federal government is not in a hurry to reopen the nation's land borders, partially closed by the federal government since August last year, to check smuggling activities. President Muhammadu Buhari, who dropped this hint while playing host to the Nigerian community in London, however, maintains that the action was not aimed at punishing the country's neighbors. White House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Amongst those representing the Nigerian community in the United Kingdom at the interactive session was the reigning world heavyweight boxing champion, Nigeria's Anthony Joshua, who made a symbolic presentation of his 4 belts to the Nigerian leader. President Buhari used the opportunity to appreciate members of the diaspora community for making Nigeria proud in their various fields of endeavor, as well as significantly contributing to the nation's economy through their remittances. The president thereafter brought his guest up to speed on his administration's genuine efforts at taking Nigeria to the next level in fulfillment of pre-election promises. The closure of the nation's land borders, for instance, he said, was in furtherance of government's commitment towards securing the country and stabilizing the economy for a sustainable future.
My aim of closing the border is not to punish my neighbors, but to take stock of what we need to do economically and security-wise to stop to stop arms, among others, to be in charge of our country. We found out the farmers were celebrating and were asking me to keep the borders closed. In fact, I warned the governor of Central Bank. I said, if he gave a cent to anybody importing food, me and him, we can produce what we eat, and that we are doing in Nigeria, and we don't regret it. We are saving hundreds of millions of dollars, for importing food. Some of it I know is fraudulent.
The president also promised to sustain efforts at ensuring that the nation's assets illegally taken away by those who do not mean well for the country are fully recovered and effectively utilized for public good.
Anybody that is caught, we make sure that he is tried, no matter how long it will take for him, and whatever belongs to the public, we get it back.
Speaker after speaker at the event described President Muhammadu Buhari as a godsend to Nigeria and promised every support and assistance to the nation's upward trajectory for greater tomorrow.
This is one head of state president that Nigeria will never and must never forget.
So thank you for continuing to sacrifice for a country that everybody says is done.
And hopefully by the time you leave office, it will be difficult to go back to our old days.
If there's anything you guys need me for, I'll stand up for Nigeria, for sure.
The president is doing a lot, and all Nigerians, irrespective of tribe, irrespective of religion, must unite to support this president so that he can lead us to the greatness that we all desire and deserve.
What next after this kind of engagement with the president?
Oh, they're all interested in investing in their country. We create a platform to make that happen. Just in the UK, control over £100 million economy, billions that can, we need to work together. So we keep passing the message from Mr. President. Let's work together to build a Nigeria of our dream.
President Buhari is in London for the UK-Africa Investment Summit starting on Monday. From London, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
And back home, the Executive Secretary, Nigerian Content Development Monitoring Board, Simbi Wambote, says ongoing efforts the Waltersmith Modular refinery in Imo State will enhance federal government's efforts at meeting the nation's oil and gas daily demand. Chuma Nwankere reports that Mr. Wabote was on a facility tour of the Modular refinery in Imo State with the Equatorial Guinea Minister of Mines and Hydrocarbons.
Waltersmith Petroman Oil Limited was incorporated in 1996 as a joint venture between Waltersmith and Associates Limited, a Nigerian company, and Petroman Oil Limited of Calgary, Canada, to operate as an oil exploration company. However, it became a fully owned Nigerian company in 2001. The Equatorial Guinea's Minister of Mines and Hydrocarbons, who was on a facility tour of the refinery complex, commended President Muhammadu Buhari, Waltersmith Petroman Oil Limited, and Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board for bringing the refinery to its present level. According to the minister, his visit is to explore ways of replicating such in his country.
Our clear mission is to be able to do similarly what you guys are doing here, being able to use our oil not just for exporting but processing it.
The Executive Secretary, Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board, Simbi Wabote, stressed that with 30% equity investment from the NCDMB in the Modular refinery, there is no going back in realizing the refinery's target.
So this is a typical example of how it should be done, where we learn from each other, what Equatorial Guinea does, what Nigerian does, and then we exchange ideas.
Chairman Waltersmith Petroman Abdurrazak Issa pointed out that the refinery has so far created employment for Nigerian youth and has also positively impacted the nation's economy.
This is going to be the beginning of so many things that we are going to do as a Nigerian company in Equatorial Guinea. We see a lot of opportunities, we see a lot of similarities between our two countries.
The firm is looking forward to meeting up consumer demand for petroleum products by May 2020. Chuma Nwankere, NTA News.
In other news, the federal government is to work out modalities to set up and strengthen the legal basis for the franchise administration being administered by the National Office for Technology Acquisition and Promotion, NUTAP. Minister of State, Science and Technology, Mohammed Abdullahi, confirmed this among other plans and objectives the ministry hopes to achieve this year, which are essentially focused towards energizing the Nigerian market and economy for job and wealth creation. He said most franchises that come into Nigeria come with a lot of baggage and therefore needs proper regulation. He commended NOTAP, an agency under the ministry which has been able to establish and check the franchise in a manner that it develops local content and creates jobs.
So we want to strengthen that legal framework for franchise in terms of regulation so that every other franchise that will come to Nigeria must be able to adapt, local content, in such a manner that it will comply with the executive order number 5, provided that actually whatever contract we're going to do in the country now, you should have some local content to ensure that our engineers, our experts, are given the necessary support, to also exhibit their skills and talent.
Regarding funding, research and development results for commercialization, the minister said the ministry will be exploring the option of engaging venture capitalists.
Was in 2020 on this interface, with commercial ventures, with very non-patent holders to ensure that we commercialize findings in such a manner that the industry benefit.
Moving on, President Muhammadu Buhari is committed to his promise that no part of the country will be allowed to suffer under his administration by ensuring that all nooks and crannies of the land enjoy the dividends of democracy. Minister of Niger Delta, Senator Gospel Akpabio, made it known during the inauguration and handing over ceremony of Unduatung, Ibiaku and Urwan erosion control work.
years, the cordial relationship between the people of Ndueton Uku and Oran was put on hold owing to the damages caused by erosion in the area many years ago. The situation that had taken a number of houses, destroyed business activities, and had left residents living in panic, not knowing what tomorrow might bring, until the day God took the senior assistant to the president on Niger Delta affairs, Senator Itainan, through the road, where he vowed to make the sufferings of the people known to the president, which marked the beginning of a new era to the people of the area.
Before now, we had a very terrible experience. Terrible in the sense that the movement of people from Nduetongo to Ibiapuran down to E2 was very impossible. And there was issue of people, cow falling into the gully.
Before this project is commissioned today, this road, the whole of this area was totally inaccessible. I really appreciate the effort of the Mr. President for having been fit to recognize this community with this laudable project.
The Minister of Niger Delta, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and other stakeholders were appreciating the effort of the federal government in ensuring that all the parts of the country, irrespective of religion or party affiliations, are properly carried in the scheme of things. Advise the people to take charge of the project by ensuring proper maintenance to avoid further damages.
Let me underscore the present administration's determination to continue with the implementation of all the new government policies and all genuine agreements and contracts at both national and international levels in this next level of governance.
That I will take through the hill, through that bad portion, through the bush track, and come up here, because these are the people that President Buhari and I protect. It doesn't matter whether their road is good or not.
We therefore call on the communities to protect these projects by keeping the drains clean all the time.
The project was thereafter inaugurated and handed over to the people of the area. In Uyo, Kevin Samuel, NTA News.
And in security, the Nigerian Air Force is repositioning to further enhance professionalism and build the needed capacity for the effective and efficient deployment of air power in the fight against insurgency and terrorism. Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, said this during an operational visit to Lagos. Lynn Leneke reports.
The Chief of the Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, who inspected some of the ongoing capital projects which spread across Air Force formations in Lagos, expressed satisfaction with the pace of work on the renovation of the NAF 913 aircraft at the 631 Aircraft Maintenance Depot, which he described as critical to the war against terrorism and other forms of criminality in the country.
The objective is to ensure that we create an enabling environment for our ground forces to be able to conduct their own operations without any hindrance. And I think we are doing that very well. And I believe at the end of the day, it will impact positively on what the personnel are doing in terms of supporting, providing logistics support to Nigerian Air Force operations.
The success story of the fight against insurgency can also be linked with provision of welfare for officers, airmen and airwomen, especially fitting accommodation.
Now, the human being is the most important resource. Unless you take care of the human being, chances are that they will not be effective. And that's why we are ensuring that we renovate their accommodation, provide adequate accommodation for them. And from what I have seen from Ikeja to this place, I think we have made substantial progress. I'm happy.
The Chief of the Air Staff said the Air Force will not relent in boosting the morale of its personnel in this regard. In Lagos, Lynn Leneke, NTA News.
And still on security, Katsina State Police Command has killed 2 kidnappers and rescued a victim of kidnapping after engaging in a gun duel at Erosion village in Malumfashi local government area of the state. Abdul Malik Hassan reports that the police also apprehended a kidnapper at the scene of the incident.
The rescued victim was abducted at his residence at Government Girls Secondary School Malumfashi staff quarters of Malumfashi local government area of Katsina State, with 50 million naira ransom demanded for his release. However, the incident took a different dimension when the Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the Katsina State Police engaged the kidnapper kidnappers in a gun battle at Yatata village of Malumfashi to rescue the victim. In the course of the gun duel, the police shot to death 2 kidnappers and 1 was arrested, while others escaped. The State Commissioner of Police, Sanusi Buba, reiterated commitment of the command in the fight against kidnapping, cattle rustling, and other heinous crimes.
We are determined, more than ever before, to deal decisively with any individual or group of individual criminals who may decide to contemplate testing the will of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Katsina State, will be severely dealt with.
He called on the public to always support and cooperate with the command in the ongoing fight against the criminal activities. The rescued victim narrates his audio.
I spent up to 2 weeks there. Phone called my uncle. Now talk to me. Now tell me, they tell my uncle that if they did not send money, 50 million, they will not bail me out. They were feeding me with bread and mineral the whole stay. I can't move because my legs were chained.
It could be recalled that the state government has restricted the movement of motorcycles from 7 in the evening to 6 o'clock in the morning, all in another giant strike to address the security challenges prevailing in the state. In Katsina, Abdul Malik Hassan, NTA News.
Away from Katsina now, talking education, the Minister of Education, Adamu Adamu, has directed the Governing Council of the Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria, and the Selection Board to proceed with all processes required for the appointment of a new Vice-Chancellor for the institution. The ministry, while responding to a request by the Vice-Chancellor of the university for the intervention of the Obi of Onitsha in the disagreement over the selection process, the minister said the selection process should proceed as scheduled in accordance with approved guidelines. Having established that the processes and procedures adopted in the ongoing selection exercise are constant with the approved guidelines and the University Act, the minister said proceedings should be continued to a logical conclusion. It is the expectation of the ministry, the Governing Council, under the leadership of its chairman, take all necessary steps to ensure a successful discharge of this mandate in prompt, accountable, and transparent manner without undue rancor. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, is one of the recipients of the awards presented to individuals who have positively impacted on the lives of the Nigerian public. The award was given at the 2020 valedictory ceremony of graduating law students of Ignatian University, Okada, Edo State. Ifoma Afo brings us details.
The graduates were excited and beaming with smiles, cheering as they received intermittent words of advice from the different speakers. The messages of the Vice Chancellor of Ignatian University, Professor Lawrence Ezemonye, and other speakers were centered on the nobility of the law profession, which they believe can transform lives, protect the oppressed, and help build the nation.
Your first job may not be your career. Most of you will start jobs, but change them at least once, maybe twice, or even more. Stand firm for the truth always. And you now have the opportunity to become leaders.
The Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, who was presented by the Zonal Director, NTA Benin Network Center, Paul Megbano, also believes that it is imperative that the graduates assert themselves in ethics of the profession to shape the future of the legal profession in Nigeria.
Lai Mohammed, it is service to the country, service to humanity. You can see the dedication, the seriousness, the discipline, and the humility that he carries out his assignment. And I believe that training as a lawyer is, to a large extent, has contributed to the success of his career today. You have a degree in your hands, and I believe that it is an opportunity. It's something like a signpost for you to contribute to your quota to the growth of our country, Nigeria.
Then came the award presentation to deserving individuals. Among them is the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, for his contributions to the nation's development. From Ignatian University, Okada, Ifoma Okafor, NTA News.
The virtues of Islam was in focus as the Islamic Education Trust, RET, celebrated its Golden Jubilee in Mina, Niger State. The 50th anniversary had in attendance the Emir of Kano, Muhammad Sanusi II, Etsu Nupe Alhaji Yahya Abubakar, and the first military governor of Niger State, Admiral Murtala Nyako. Mukhtar Abubakar Wowo reports.
Dignitaries, friends and associates, as well as the beneficiaries of the Islamic Education Trust, converged in the celebration of the organization's achievements, reflecting on its beginning, present and the future. The core purpose of establishing the Islamic Education Trust, IET, rests with the Dawah Institute of Nigeria, and the basic aims include public enlightenment, capacity building of other Islamic organizations and individuals involved in da'wah, interfaith bridge building for peaceful coexistence, striving for greater social justice, promoting faith-based critical thinking, preventing violent extremism, and promoting the rights of women in Islam. The Emir of Kano, Sanusi Lamido Sanusi II, stressed the need for the understanding of various aspects of Islam and what is more important during da'wah for proper comprehension.
What types of Islamic law? What verse in the Quran, what hadith of the prophets allows a father to give birth to a child and leave the child to go and fend for himself?
Late Sultan Abubakar III, late Lamido of Adamawa Aliyu Mustafa, and the first military governor of Niger State, Admiral Murtala Nyako, among other personalities, were recognized for their contributions towards the development of the Islamic Education Trust.
Any education without moral rectitude associated with it, any life without moral rectitude is an empty life.
The Islamic Education Trust was founded in Sokoto in 1969 by Sheikh Ahmed Lemu, late Hajia Aisha Lemu, and late Alhaji Sani Ashafa Suleiman of blessed memory. Mina Mukhtar Abubakar, NTA News.
And now talking sports, 17 goals were scored in 8 matches of the